Right, Gary, thanks for speaking to us. I wanted to reflect on Tuesday night first and foremost and talk about the officiating. I know you've got to be wary on what you can say with regards to it. Have you had any follow-on conversations, or do you ask for an explanation?
No. You deal with it there and then. For me, it's no point. We got to park it, and that's what Matt asked me, and we'll talk about that later. I said, no, I won't. We talk about it on the night, and that's it. Because that's it. You're allowed to go and speak to the referees after half an hour of the game if you choose to do so. And then for me, that's it. It's done. And then you go through the process where you fill a report in, and then it comes back. The feedback comes back to you. But we haven't had that feedback yet. But like I say, from my point of view now, that's it. It's gone. We can't do anything about it. We've just got to look forward now to Bradford on Saturday.
I mean, there's plenty of debate around officiating at the moment, and maybe the standard of it overall. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that particularly, but it's more a question of do they need help?
You said you weren't going to get me in trouble. I've got a holiday to pay for in the summer, hopefully. So we all need help, don't we? We all need help. The whole game needs help. The whole game needs help. Different rules, time wasting, goalkeepers, technical, tactical stoppages, ball in play, where a throw should be taken, where it's actually taken from. So I think my biggest thing that I've always said is that the people that make the rules don't sit down with the people that are involved in it on a weekly basis. We have one meeting at the start of the season that we have to attend, and then nothing else on that after that until next season. So when we have to attend.
What would that look like for you in an ideal world? Would that just be an open dialogue?
I think it should be, an open dialogue, get around the table, do it regional, get so many managers, or set up a committee group that represents the managers, and you can feed in, and there could be a monthly update, there could be feedback from and build relationships between managers, coaches and officials and people above that run the game, and then that way you're getting feedback going both ways to try and help both parties. They help us understand. I've this season spoke to officials that give me a better understanding of why they've dealt with, because we've had an adult conversation about it, and I've said this for years to David Allison, that was in place and did a brilliant job at it, and now it's Mike Jones. But it doesn't happen enough in terms of that conversation.
Do you think the rules have almost changed too much in certain regards? I was listening to Five Live a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about how many sublines there are now underneath, say, the handball rule, the offside rule. There's so many little tinkers that have gone on that no one's really 100% sure either way.
Well, that's it, isn't it? There was once the classic quote, wasn't it? If you're on the pitch, you're impacting the game. But we've changed it so much, like you say. But I suppose it gives us all something to talk about. Me personally, I'd rather have human error than VAR. So, that's what I'm saying. Tuesday night, parked it until you've just brought it up there now, so thanks for that. But we'll park it again and then carry on and look forward to Saturday now.
Deep breath now. No.
Yeah.
In terms of the football then, reacting to Tuesday night, what has that been like in training today? I imagine you've been out in the sunshine.
Yeah. Well, straight away after the game, told the players, we were pleased with the performance, how we went about it, to go toe-to-toe with a team that's now in the playoffs, and physically compete with... score a wonderful goal, create chances, had several other opportunities, and then to just lose it at the death, and probably the manner of it, a deflected cross. They deserved more, the players, in my opinion. But sometimes in this game, as we know, you don't always get what you deserve. So it's a case of coming in this morning, smiles on the faces, which I told them all they had to do. And if they didn't, don't come in. And they all come in with smiles on the faces because of how they performed. And so the meeting was good this morning. Started off by celebrating Sully passing his test. So his driving test yesterday. So that was, gave the room energy, and then they were great again in the debrief, and we went out and trained, and looking forward to Saturday.
So Sully's not going to have to get 2 trains anymore to get here.
Not yet. He's still doing that, but yeah, delighted for him.
Maybe there's a sponsor on that board behind you that could help him, I'm sure. But going forward then, look, Bradford City, another team in that playoff picture. It's about redirecting that energy, I guess. I heard Dokes talking after the game with Fletch. He was quite strong in his thoughts on the game, and it's putting that now into Bradford, is it?
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, the process that we've gone through all season, we review, we debrief, discuss, and then go forward with the learnings to try and improve, and that's been the message to them all season. I think, again, we've got a team that are in the playoffs. For me, I've known Graham a long time, since he was back in the day. He was manager at Scunthorpe, I was manager at Blackpool, and I think he's had a wonderful career and still having a wonderful career. And I'm guessing that he's had 5,000 appearances as a player. He'd want to get that as a manager. And you look at what he's done, getting them out the league last season, and then gone on, I wouldn't say blown the league away, but really took it by storm with this season for a newly promoted team. And they've got money to spend, but he spent it wisely with the players, and then obviously they've done ever so well in their recruitment in January as well. So, total respect for him, know what he's like as a person, and so we're going to have to be, full of that energy and full of that attitude again on Saturday.
How do you stop your players looking at what's happening around you? I've interviewed you enough to know that you're not going to get drawn in on that, but how do you stop the players? Because Tuesday night a couple of results did go against.
We can't control that. It's the same messages. My time of year quote to you that you probably take the mickey out of me on the radio is exactly the message that the players are getting. Is and we ask them, can control whoever's playing on Saturday, whoever Bolton are playing, or whoever Cardiff are playing. We can't. So all we can control on is ourselves, and that's the message. And there are times when I hear them get interviewed and they repeat that, and I go, "Oh, good, yeah, we're learning."
Yeah, we are counting how many times.
Oh yeah.
I guess for them, your experience though, I guess you've got young players that are still learning that. Do they go on their phones after games? Do you let that happen in the dressing room? Do they check?
Well, I couldn't tell you, because as soon as I debrief the game, I get out of there and leave them to it. That's their space. This modern world that we live in, I know where my money would be if I had to bet on. Did they go straight on their phones? Of course they do. Yeah. The advice that we give them is obviously to try and ignore all the noise and just concentrate on your jobs.
In terms of people returning, I'll do Charlie checking just for the sake of it. How's
should bill that now, shouldn't we? You two need to get like a theme tuned in. Charlie's checking.
He's on social media enough, so we need to check in on him.
Charlie's on social media enough.
Not himself, by the way, just pictures of him.
Right. No, he's had a really good week. This is probably been his first proper week since the injury, where he's trained at a real intensity on Tuesday and a real intensity again today. So he is getting very, very close now.
Will it be a first full proper week with a match at the end of it? Or?
Well, we'll see how he's been after, like I say, after today's session as well, and then he'll go again tomorrow, and we'll make that call after tomorrow's session, really.
I'll take that. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Kegs Chalke almost forced off in both of the last 2 fixtures, really. How's he reacted to Tuesday night?
Yeah, Saturday was more cramp with the amount of miles that he put in. Tuesday just got a knock, so he's not trained today, but we'll give him as long as he possibly can tomorrow. And see how he goes, but obviously he's somebody that gives us that energy of what we're about and how we go about it. So yeah, he's been terrific for us. So we'll make an assessment on him later on.
have a feeling I might know where this is going, but last week's win against Northampton meant it was the first team in the division that you'd done the double over and taken 6 points from. Of course, you have the opportunity to do that on Saturday against Bradford. Obviously, you've mentioned the challenge that it's going to be, but having that sort of record and that sort of milestone ticked off, so it be, how much confidence does that give the group?
From our point of view, it's like we've had obviously the disappointment on Tuesday. We've parked that now. We've learned the lessons, hopefully, and then we take that into Saturday's game. Everything else that goes around that doesn't really come into our thinking, other than there's 3 points at stake. How many of them can we get?
Thanks, Gary.